Hello, folks, and welcome to the Revere Report. We're doing a nice little special intro for all you folks that haven't heard of us. And if you're new to the podcast, this would be a good place to start on episode 1. So before we get into it, we'd like to take a minute to introduce ourselves and give everybody some background who didn't follow us from the radio show. So my name is Colin Sedgwick. I'm sitting here with the co-host, the extraordinary
Jakk with 2K's Manfield.
And we are your truth seekers, the defenders of all things truthful.
And American.
We're here, we're going to come to you every week and just kind of give you some updates of what's kind of gone on in the world from last time we spoke, or our reoccurring events, all your false flag attacks, just all the bullshit that you don't want to have to weed through. We're going to weed through it.
You know, it really is a full-time job. I can't fault anyone for, letting others do the research, because I'll tell you what, if I had known how much work this was ahead of time, I can't say that I would have signed up for this, but it becomes kind of a compulsion after a while. It's a lens that you see things through, and you really only develop that effectively through experience.
Oh, we've been doing this for 15 years?
Yeah, something like that.
I'm on year 15 now.
Yep.
So,
it's a wild ride.
I come from the world of private investigation. I did a lot of private investigative work for some majorly syndicated news outlets, none of which I can really speak on, but that's my background. I've traveled the world. I've seen some shit. I've seen pretty much the worst of the worst, and met a lot of good people along the way and a lot of terrible people along the way.
You really, in those situations, you really see the extremes and like the truth of that person. You see, the best people and the worst people come out in extreme circumstances.
Well, Jakk, you were inside.
Well, I was. I'm guilty of that to an extent. I spent a fair amount of time doing consulting on a large scale, national level. I can't say who specifically for because of non-disclosure agreements.
Well, and just they'd be coming for us. For you,
absolutely. I'm putting enough out there just appearing on this podcast. Colin asked me to do it, and we've been good friends for a long time, so I couldn't turn him down because I believe in the message and I believe in what we're trying to do here. But as long as as long as we don't name our specific sources, our contacts, and these specific groups, I hope that it's enough that they don't come for us.
Yeah, I think we're gonna do this right. So we've been doing our radio show for about 4 years now. Just a local. We're not gonna speak of where it was, but they kindly asked us to stop. And we weren't able to go as deep as we're gonna go now. And
that was child's play compared to what we're about to do.
No, that was fun. It got us a fan base, and it got us the motivation to keep going. At least people want to know.
And the experience, really. It helps coming into a program like this and a format like this. We haven't done the podcast specifically before, but the just the dialogic exchange between the two of us. We're veterans at this by this point. So it should translate over fairly easy.
I think so. So we're broadcasting. We'll give you guys a little more background from the bunker.
The bunker, yes.
We like to call it
the formidable bunker.
Jack's got quite the bunker set up here. We'll just tell you we're on the west coast of the United States.
Yeah, I don't want it narrowed down any further than that. Yeah. I'll tell you what.
We're pretty far underground. We're recording from pretty far underground. We have to keep a lot of this.
There's no cell signals, no Wi-Fi signals, no GPS. Nothing gets in or out.
Nope.
Not that, as long as we don't let it.
Right. And so we got to we record down here because we're right in front of the big board,
The big board, yes.
We've had this board up for a long time.
Oh, boy.
There's everything on here from Stalin's assassination to, I can't even, what's over there? Oh, insulin and, pharmaceutical company. I mean, it's expansive.
The breadth is almost incomprehensible, but it's taken us years. We've done it piece by piece.
This is good 12 years of work that's gone into this big board, linking all of these things to
an inch at a time. It's really you have to work on the small scale to really see the big picture. Put it all together. So this is a handy tool for us right here.
It's almost better than Google.
Oh, absolutely. The Google Matrix, it eliminates. There. We could do a whole episode about, and I think we're going to touch on that maybe a little bit today. But it just it's nice to have the huge visual aid that allows us to, quickly be able to see what's really behind certain aspects or notice trends and movement and
reminds us of old research, so we can quickly, kind of remember and reconnect the dots, if you will.
Absolutely.
Well, actually, physically, they're connected.
Yes.
On the board.
Yes. That does help considerably.
So, I don't know if there was much else. I talked about your background. We talked about mine. So that's really it. We just wanted to give everybody a quick little update before getting right into the very first episode. We got some surprises that happened this time, and hoping to turn this into a nice little weekly event. If you guys want more, then please voice your opinion.
Absolutely.
So this is us signing off, and thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Mr. President, will you attack North Korea?
With the words "into radioactive ashes"
widespread
as the
devastation
headline,
now
this
30
news
kilometers off
stick it
the
next to an
Pacific
image
coast.
of a mushroom cloud and nuclear explosion.
3 people are confirmed dead. Hospitalizing end is expected to rise. Now there are also reports that the first wave has
Tensions
reached
on the North Korean peninsula are ratcheting up.
Hello, and welcome to the Revere Report. This is Colin Sedgwick.
This is Jakk with 2K's Manfield.
And here we are today, Monday, the November 27th, for our first episode of the Revere Report.
It's our post-Thanksgiving episode. I hope everyone had a phenomenal Thanksgiving.
Oh, wonderful. How was your Thanksgiving?
My Thanksgiving was fantastic. I'll tell you what. We spent the whole day just cooking and goofing off with family and letting the little ones run around. It was just great.
Oh, it's good to be an American.
Yes, it is.
Well, we have a bundle of stories to get through today.
A whole bundle, a bushel, if you will.
A big old bushel. So first we need to talk about how we were about to start this podcast, very first podcast, and we put onto our Instagram and our Twitter and started to spread the word that the Revere Report was finally coming to a podcast. So all you people that would hear us on public radio, our late night AM radio show, we're probably not doing that anymore. But
we've
now,
moved on. We're moving with the times,
We were getting to, it was getting just too political for us.
Well, and then you have to keep with the schedule like so frequently. This is really convenient. We can even do a couple episodes at once, if we really need to. It's just much more in congruence with the times.
Yes, much better. So we're learning the ins and the outs of the podcasting world, and we're going to bring this show to you at least once a week, probably every Monday. We'll see how it goes. We might do more, we might do less. I'm sure we're going to have some breaking news episodes that we'll have to do.
Absolutely.
From time to time. So, and if we might just get to the point where we might need to start doing it every other day, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah.
Pretty excited.
Me too. Absolutely.
So I was, anyway, as I was saying, I dropped the news that we're going to start this podcast, and what happens? You know what the fuck happened?
It's almost unbelievable. It would be unbelievable if it didn't actually happen.
It would be, yes. Those damn DNA sites. It was scheduled, the first thing on our schedule to talk about today, the very first thing. Those sites where you go and you find out your heritage and your ancestry, and you take a little swab of your mouth or a little prick of your thumb, and you send it away for genetic testing. We're going to come in and talk about those today. And they found our notes. There's the only possible way they could have done it. They found our notes.
I'm just impressed at the turnaround time on that. They
that.
had so little time, and it was at some point yesterday afternoon there was a story that broke about these sites handing data over to law enforcement officials, working with the government on multiple levels.
Oh, not hard to believe. Not hard to believe that it's happening.
Not even in the slightest.
Hard to believe that they knew we were coming out to share this information and other information on them, and they broke it first.
And, that goes to show we are onto something here. That's, if they can break first and set the precedent for the tone of the story, we come in here telling you what's actually going on, and we're going to sound crazy because they have already set the precedent in everyone's mind for what is actually going on, which, in fact, that is not what's going on.
No, not at all. I mean, sure, they are. I mean, but the government already the police already have your DNA. I mean, you go to the doctor. Yeah, I mean, you can be traced back. That's not the real story here, folks. The real story is you're getting into the Google matrix. They're uploading your genetics directly into the server.
And there it's accessible by anyone. I mean, you're talking FBI, CIA, NSA, all these other clandestine information groups. We don't even know what they're doing or what they're called necessarily, but they have access because it is in that Google matrix.
Mm-hmm. You are in the server. You can even be created virtually at that point. They have your entire genome ready to go.
They can just render you and just like that.
This is the beginning of the matrix, folks. This and the virtual assistants picking up all of your tonal voices.
Absolutely. I just don't understand how people just so readily allowed those into their homes, like a spiffy commercial with some cool music, and it's helping your kids learn how to spell a word or something, because apparently you're a completely ineffectual parent and don't know how to teach your children how to spell. But it's always recording and listening to what you're doing, and it even makes relevant suggestions for your shopping. I just can't believe we're at a point where people are going to trust these large entities, no matter what they be, corporations or government agencies, to have eyes and ears in their home at any given moment. That just doesn't.
At all times, they are just collecting data 24/7. They know when you get home. They know when you're taking a shit. They know when you're talking to your kids. They know how do you talk to your kids, how do you talk to your friends, who you ignore. They know everything, folks, and they can recreate you.
They can, and they take waveforms of your voice, and they can perfectly recreate your voice to say whatever they want you to say.
Oh, and that's already been exposed months ago with these websites. I think it was even on that one real popular podcast. I can't remember what it's called. Radio Lab, where they need 40 hours of your voice and they can make you say anything you want.
That's astounding.
That
is shocking.
Imagine what they can do with years of that being recorded 24/7 in your personal home. So there's no bias in your voice. You don't know they're recording, so it's all natural. They're getting too much data on you, folks.
And I'll tell you what, some of you folks out there may be kind of skeptical of this. This does sound pretty grandiose, but when you think about now, with Microsoft, the Office products and that sort of stuff, everybody's got those interfaces where with voice to text recognition, the virtual assistants are the same way. Obviously, they can understand, the computer can understand the words that you were saying, and So when it listens in for, potentially years on end, it has a database of sound files of you saying every word you've ever said. And so if they need to engineer a statement out of you or, anything, they can pull your actual voice from years of conversation you've been having, and you did say those things, maybe not in that order necessarily, but they can make you say whatever they want.
Those are your words. Your words. You can agree to anything. You're signing your lives away, folks.
You can claim responsibility for anything. That's terrifying.
Yeah. Your false flag event happens, and
Next thing you know, you're standing trial for treason.
And they got your voice on tape pledging allegiance to ISIS over here.
Yeah, it's flabbergasting that no one is putting these dots together. It's
really plain and simple, folks. It really, really is. You just really need to stop letting them collect this data. Don't buy these virtual assistants. Don't sign up for these stupid DNA. Do you really want to know where you came from that bad, that you're going to give the government all of your genetic makeup?
Try talking to your parents, maybe.
Yeah.
Talk to
grandma.
If you got grandparents, talk to them. You can learn all of these things, from just connecting with your family. You don't need technology to tell you who you are and what that means to you or whatever you want to do with that information.
I saw some of those sample lists come out and the percentages and what they are, and maybe some folks post them to Instagram because they're real bored and they really want to show off that they gave some money to these horrible people, and so they posted their results, and somebody I saw was like 3% Neanderthal.
3%.
3% Neanderthal. What
are you going to do
folks.
with that information, even if that's true? I mean, the Neanderthals all died out years ago. So that's ridiculous. But even if you did know that, are you going to wear a Neanderthal pride sticker or something? It just doesn't. It's useless information, folks.
Completely. I mean, we don't need to just keep throwing out excuse me. We don't need to know if we're 3% Neanderthal. We just need to know that we're 100% Americans, and we shouldn't be giving all of this data to the powers that be. They're obviously going to take advantage of it. They're going to create you. I mean, we're on our way to the virtual. We're on our way to our own matrix. The Google matrix is how I like to call it. Is they're going to put us into the system, and they're going to plug us in every day, and you can just disappear because you'll still be seen. You'll still be virtually rendered. It's obvious, folks. It's very obvious. You just got to stop letting the machine grow.
And for those folks who might not believe that whole line of reasoning, take a look at the companies that Google has purchased over the last half a dozen years or so. They've got Boston Dynamics, a former DoD robotics company. They've got DeepMind, the artificial intelligence company. I don't know if you folks have seen those crazy pieces of art that DeepMind has been creating, but they're just they're wacky. This. They look insane, but it's a computer has actually made art. And
intellectual art, and you put that together with these extremely advanced robotics techniques like the Atlas robot or that pack mule robot that they had to carry supplies for troops. You have the very beginnings of the intelligence and robotics melding into. There's no telling what they could do. Beginning of the end, folks.
They could even replace us in real life, folks.
That's 100% true.
And Google Glass, it was kind of suspicious that wasn't marketed real heavily.
Nope.
Now
they've thrown it, quote unquote, out the window. I don't even know where they're at with it anymore.
Well, so you know what? They spent all this time having people demo the product, take it out for a spin, see how it works. the whole thing, all it did was map the way that the human psyche responds to auditory and visual stimuli. You know, it tracks how your eyes move. That's how you control the thing and stuff you say to it. It's recording everything that's going on around you. And so, you know, they're just using it to create artificial intelligence that can dynamically respond to its environment.
And it makes sense. They're just further collecting data. Same thing with these new phones. I have a flip phone that I replace every 2 weeks. I don't jump on this fancy smartphone hubbalahoo because it's obviously they're little cameras in there. They're mapping your whole entire face, every single expression. I've saw the commercials for some of those new ones. It'll map your face and turn you into a puppy dog, but you know what else it can turn you into? Whatever the fuck they want it to.
ISIS terrorists, communists, it really does not matter. We're just handing ourselves in entirety over to them, folks. This should be extremely alarming.
I can't believe it. The sheer numbers of people that just trust these big companies to just hand over their DNA, their face, every single personal thing about you. You can give them your passwords now too, your key lock to your diary.
It's just insane. You know, it's absolutely insane. And you know what? I think a lot of people, you know, it's just real easy for them. And so, you know, sure, save your password with Google Chrome for the specific website or what have you. You know, it's nice to think that there's this huge omnipotent Google in the sky that's going to protect our information and our passwords and our entire presence in the cyberspace. You know, and it just doesn't occur to people, you know, that it might be used for nefarious purposes. We have so many things to worry about, you know, bills to pay and picking the kids up from soccer practice and court hearings and all that.
The last thing you need to worry about is, you know, what's my password?
It's mind-boggling to me. But at the same time, I understand because life is busy.
It's real busy. I mean, you got to be worrying about net neutrality. I mean,
oh boy. Oh, you know, I didn't want to go into this today. I really didn't, because we could have made a whole 4 episodes out of this.
Just on this one.
Yeah.
But I mean, the cat's out of the bag, and we need to speak our voice on this.
Yeah. You know, it's why would they be asking for control if they weren't going to utilize it?
Of course.
You know, Comcast says we won't censor you. We won't censor the fake news, as they like to brand everyone. You know, but they want the power to do it.
Want it. Why is that? Why do you want that power?
It's control, folks. That's what it is. That's how they run things. And you know, people like us could get completely shut down.
Oh, you won't be hearing this podcast anymore. Not because we don't want it, but because it'll just disappear.
The powers that be, they
have the control to make you not be able to see this, for us to not even be able to post it. You want that in your life? You want that in your life? I don't want that in my life.
That is big government. That is, you know, that is what they do. They tell you exactly what you can and can't do. It doesn't matter that it's a corporation like Comcast or anything else. It's the same structure. It's the same dynamic.
Oh yeah, power is corruption, folks. So we're gonna keep this one a little short this week, just because we had a serious break in security here.
It's unfortunate, but this is how we learn. Hopefully if we shore up our defenses, so to speak, we can avoid this sort of accountability catastrophe from happening in the future.
So you can bet that we'll be back here next week, and we got a little bit of an intro that we recorded ahead of time for you guys that we're gonna put onto the front of this, and then we'll be back next week. same time, same place, and you'll get yourselves your weekly dose of truth serum.
Weekly or daily. If you want daily, go ahead and let us know. We can do that.
Yes. If you enjoy the show, please, we are on Instagram and Twitter at the Revere Report. And you can shoot us an email at thereverereport@gmail.com. And I think we're going to go ahead and make a subreddit.
Yeah, I think so. I think it'd be a great place to have some engagement and discussion with you, the listeners. We want to hear feedback from you, and we want to, maybe explain some things that don't necessarily, we might gloss over some of these concepts because we spend a lot of time talking about these beforehand. We know pretty much exactly what we're going to say. So sometimes there are concepts that are, they're just glossed over a little bit in our excitement. So, feel free to ask any questions.
Oh, and there's so much. There's always something. There's stuff that we're going to miss. We spend most of our time deep diving into a lot of these subjects.
It's a rabbit hole. It's a deep diving rabbit hole.
And we have some information that we just can't even let out yet. We have information from places that we can't even begin to describe to you folks. So we miss a lot of the things that kind of hit the mainstream news. That we miss a lot of false flag news and stuff like that. So we want to engage the audience and have a good discussion.
Exactly.
So we'll see you back here next week, and everyone enjoy your week in hell.
Stay vigilant, folks.
This has been a Sedgwick and Manfield production.